space over here. You don't have to stand in the street. Yeah. Woo! Oh yeah. All right. Good morning. Peace and blessings. Love and light to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on my seventh annual Worst Landlord Watchlist. I can't believe it's been 7 years, but it is my seventh. This list spotlights and shames the most egregiously negligent property owners in the city. The worst landlords are determined by the number of widespread, persistent, dangerous housing violations in the buildings over the past year. Each hazardous violation on the worst landlord watch list. Each building is in disrepair. Each landlord is putting profit over people, represents New Yorkers suffering in their homes. This year we're seeing new highs on the list, new lows for landlord conduct. And our worst landlords this year are, unfortunately, making history. Our top two landlords have more violations than anyone in the list's history. And both represent the same company taking advantage of tenants all across the city. Number one, Margaret Brunn. And number two, Donald Hastings. Are making history as they are both associated with the same company, A&E Real Estate Holdings. Together, they account for 60 buildings and an average of over nearly 9,000 open violations during the list assessment period last year. 9,000. This is the first known instance of the top two landlords representing the same entity, and is demonstration of both the breadth of the violations at their properties and the means with which corporate entities seek to avoid accountability with the different LLCs and head offices in city records. We come across this all the time, folks trying to obscure who the owners are. If A&E sounds familiar, it's because they have hundreds of properties in total, and because last week, the city settled a lawsuit with A&E Real Estate, which will mandate repairs across some of their portfolio. But many properties, many more properties and hazards exist not only across their portfolio, but across our entire list. With an administration committed to housing justice, finally, tenant support, and using all of the tools able to deliver, I am reinvigorated by the change we can create. This year, we're taking a new step to accountability. Taking a new step in accountability. This list is most powerful when used for organizing, and I'm hitting the streets with hundreds of tenants to give New Yorkers the tools they need to take action. Throughout this week, volunteers with Our Time and Housing Justice for All, Our Time and Housing Justice for All are canvassing buildings owned by A&E, speaking with tenants to help them organize and urge them to attend the upcoming rental ripoff hearings hosted by the Mamdani administration. If I'm a tenant, I'm an organizer by training, specifically around tenants and housing. This area used to be where I organized earlier.
Welcome back.
It's how my career started, and I'm excited to be back out knocking on doors. With the resources of the city and the energy of tenants who are fed up with dangerous conditions and rising rents, we can overhaul not only buildings, but the entire system that has created this housing crisis, putting profits over people. Violations as compiled and categorized by the Department of Housing Preservation and Development can include issues such as heat and hot water outages, which on a day-to-day, you can see how deadly that can become, rodent infestation issues, and collapsing infrastructure. Sadly, over the past few years, we've seen multiple collapses of buildings or partial collapses due to infrastructure issues. We'll hear soon from some tenants facing these conditions. Long-term success in improving housing conditions will require sustained investment in enforcement, including reversing the cuts the prior administration made to staffing from the Department of Housing Preservation and Development and from the Department of Building. Issues with conditions broadly, and he specifically, are not only among private landlords, as has been the case with, I think, every year since this list was introduced. The New York City Housing Authority has demonstrated an inability to improve conditions. They would far surpass anyone on the list, but they're public. In November of 2025, there was about 612,000 open work orders, near identical number to the previous year. They're in a category all by themselves. Perpetual mismanagement of nature has made the city itself the worst overall landlord for hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers. For every other tenant in our city, I encourage you to get on landlordwatchlist.com. Check out if your building is there or your landlord. Get the information that's needed and get organized. We were happy that we were able to pass some bills in the last council based on the work we did on the watch list. We have a couple more bills that we're hoping that we get passed this year to strengthen the list even more. And we will say, even though there was a settlement with A&E, this building was not a part of the settlement. And so there are still repairs that need to be done here by our history-making top two, Margaret Brunn and Donald Hensting. There's also some frequent flyers that we see every year, like Barry Singer and David Tettenbaum. I can't say they've gotten better. There are some landlords who have gotten worse that have surpassed them. So next we'll hear from a tenant, a leader, followed up by the council member of this district, Honorable Rita Joseph. Right now we'll hear from Zamani, tenant leader. All right.
Hi, my name is Zamani, and I am a tenant in this building. A&E being placed on the worst landlords list is not shocking. In the short time my partner and I have lived here, the only way A&E would uphold their duty as a landlord, including treating the roach infestation in our apartment, was through litigation. After countless unanswered emails and phone calls, we had to turn to the courts, which meant spending months in litigation, taking time off of work, and continually following up to get A&E to do their legal duty. The same is true for many of my neighbors, who have lived here much longer than my partner and I have, and who have had to deal with infestations of mice, mold, and roaches, and inconsistent heating ever since A&E took ownership of this building. Neighbors who use mobility aids have been stranded in the lobby when the elevator goes out. Tenants dread doing laundry because our basement is overrun with rats. This building is home to families, elders, and neighbors who are all trying to simply live in habitable conditions. A&E engages in targeted tenant harassment against my neighbors who have lived in this building for decades. They strategically buy rent-stabilized buildings and neglect repairs in hopes of pushing out our black and brown neighbors in order to turn a profit. This building isn't an excuse to line Margaret Brunn and Douglas Eisenberg's pockets. This place is people's home, my home, that A&E continues to neglect. It wasn't until yesterday, on the eve of this press conference, A&E reached out to tenants to acknowledge repairs that have been waiting months and in some cases years to be addressed. Our building's disrepair has been so egregious we were placed on HPD's alternative enforcement program 1 year ago. There has been an order to correct on our front door for months that A&E ignores and AEP refuses to enforce. This building and my neighbors deserve city agencies that actually hold landlords like A&E accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next up, we have our awesome council member, Councilmember Rita Joseph.
Thank you, Public Advocate. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for braving the cold to be here in morning in support of tenants' rights. I'm Councilmember Joseph, representing this district right here in Flatbush. I want to start by thanking the Public Advocates for his tireless effort to spotlight the shame, the landlords who make life so difficult for tenants in my district and across the city. The owners of this building, Margaret Brunson, Brian Garland, and the rest of A&E have a lot to answer for just this past Friday. This administration announced a settlement, restitution for 14 buildings where city found mistreatment, neglect, violation of poor living conditions. That settlement doesn't even apply to this building or many others to this landlord's portfolio across the city, where tenants continue to fight just for the bare minimum. Not even 2 weeks ago, A.D. Woodruff failed a rat inspection for the 5th time since 2018. The building was also in the AEP program for almost a full year. The program is supposed to force negligent landlords to make repairs within few months. But as of today, this building has 313 open violations, including 73 Class C violations. That means 73 immediately hazardous violations the tenants here have to live with. Shame. Shame. Just since November, HPD has issued 21 violations here for the things like rats, mice, cracked walls, and floors, overflowing garbage, leaky radiators, household items, and garbage left out in the hallways. Fire hazard, roach, moles, chipping paint, I could keep going, but I think you get the idea. Unfortunately, thousands of tenants across my district are dealing with the same issues. Landlord-tenants issues are constantly represent the largest numbers of complaints my office receive in the 11226 zip code. Record one of the highest rates of eviction in this entire city. We should not be afraid to call what it is, racism and abuse. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. Next we'll have from Tenant Block, Timothy. Hi, it's you. Hey, how are you? I was like, that name can't be two people, but I didn't know this.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Tenants are 70% of New York City. We are the people that make the city run. And the days of A&E and other landlords thinking that they can get away with not providing heat, not providing gas, letting rats run rampant in these buildings are over.
Yeah.
Over the last year, tenants proved that when we come together and we act as a united force, we can take the power that we deserve. And this year, now we are ready to use that same power to hold landlords like A&E and every other landlord on this worst landlords list accountable to tenants. We're going to win repairs and decent living conditions for every tenant in this city. This week, we've been canvassing buildings across the city, and in just 2 days alone, we have already knocked on over 2,000 doors.
Nice.
It is nice. A&E tenants, the over 30,000 A&E tenants in this city, every tenant in the tenant movement is standing behind you right now. When we come together as tenants, there is nothing that we cannot win, and we are going to win decent living conditions, repairs, and justice for all the tenants in this portfolio and in the city. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next we'll have Sabrina Simon from Flatbush Tenants Coalition and Flatbush Development Corporation, where I was the housing director many, many moons ago.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sabrina Simon, and I'm an organizer with the Flatbush Tenant Coalition. At FTC, we organize tenants across Flatbush in buildings where landlord neglect is not an exception, but the norm. We work with tenants who go weeks without heat in the winter, who live with mold, leaks, pests, and collapsing ceilings, and who are told over and over again that repairs are coming and never do. So when the public advocate releases the worst landlords watch list, this is not abstract to us. This list reflects the horrible conditions our members live with every day. This year's worst landlords average more than 1,800 open violations, hundreds of heat and hot water complaints, tenants freezing in the cold while landlords keep collecting rent. Boo. These are the same kinds of conditions we see in our tenant building, conditions that force tenants to use dangerous space heaters, risk fires, get sick, miss work, and live in fear in their own homes. And here's what we see again and again. Even when landlords refuse to fix these dangerous conditions, they still file eviction cases. We organize in buildings where landlord neglect repairs for years and then use housing court as a weapon to push tenants out. Landlords ignore repairs for years, but move fast when it comes to evictions, right? Housing court works better for kicking tenant out than it does for getting the heat back on. And in many cases, eviction court moves faster than code enforcement, and the tenants pay the price. That's why we're here today, in support of the work of the Public Advocate's Office and calling attention to these landlords and to call the state to pass our Clean Hands legislation. Yeah. Clean Hands is simple and powerful. If a landlord has housing code violations in an apartment or common areas of the building, they should not be allowed to sue tenant for evictions. Clean Hands would prevent landlords from bringing eviction cases when such problems exist in tenant homes. This legislation will change everything for the tenants we organize with, and the majority of the eviction cases in New York City take place in buildings where these serious conditions, sorry, it's cold and I have on gloves. Thank you. Serious condition of disrepair. Clean Hands exposes the truth. Landlords shouldn't profit from neglect. This crisis is deeply racialized. The tenants mostly impacted by housing neglect are overwhelmingly Black and brown. And the health consequences, especially from lack of heat, mold, and pests, are severe and long-lasting. So the worst landlord's watch list shows us who's driving the crisis. And Clean Hands gives us a tool to fight back by slowing the eviction machine, restoring housing court to its original purpose, and shifting the power away from the neglect of the landlord and back to the tenants. So we thank the public advocate for this list, and we urge the state legislator to pass the Clean Hands so that no landlords can freeze tenants out of their homes while using the courts to push them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, we'll have the chairperson of Community Board 14, Carl Henry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so folks, I'll be brief because it's brick outside. And so
For those who are not in Brooklyn, that means cold.
that means it's cold. There may be some who don't know. That's true. I need the translation. But truth be told, the only thing that's colder than outside is the disregard that this landlord and others have for the people who live here. And so I love the fact that we have this list because the public advocate has been championing housing inequality, but it sucks that every year the same people are on there because it means that they're not doing the work. So I'm going to keep it brief because this is indicative of a bigger issue. And so for Community Board 14, the Community District 14 ranks 12th out of 59 regarding the number of serious housing code violations. You heard what Councilwoman Joseph mentioned. Her office has so many of those issues that people are complaining about. Nearly 300 of 1,000 units in Community District 14 have a serious housing violation. 10 of the buildings in our district were on the landlord's worst landlord list in 2024, and this building here was also there in 2022. So the public advocate was saying it's an issue. It still is. And like FTC said, there's also health concerns that are tied to this stuff. And so while I thank the public advocate for this work, the fact is there has to be a way to hold these people accountable for not doing their job. Coaches get fired in sports when their teams don't make the playoffs, so it makes no sense. You can still do this stuff if you're not doing your job. And the last piece I'll tell people, you have housing issues, contact your council member's office and contact Community District 14. We're here to help you. We're a bridge between the city agencies and the people and the elected officials. So I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we're going to have some of our partner organizations that will also be brief so we can get inside. First, we're going to have Miriam from CUF, then Andrea Shapiro from Met Council, Fitzroy Randy from CASA, and they want to be acknowledged but not speak. My old organization, I was executive director of Tenants and Neighbors. So first, let's call CUF.
Okay. Miriam. I'm interpreting.
Oh.
Buenos días, estoy aquí representando la gente hispana de Nueva York y queremos decirles a los tenants que queremos tener viviendas justas, accesibles y seguras para nuestros niños, nuestras familias.
Hi, my name is Miriam. I'm here representing the Latino community, and we are here because we want fair, just, secure housing for families and for our children.
Y queremos landlords que tengan el corazón bueno,
And we want landlords with a good heart
que comprendan lo que está pasando en la ciudad.
who understand what's happening in the city.
Que la economía no está buena ahora mismo para toda la familia.
That the economy is not good for all the families.
No todos somos ricos.
Not all of us are rich.
Tengan misericordia.
Have mercy.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That was short and sweet.
And I thank the translator, Julissa Gonzalez, who's the Deputy Public Advocate of Housing at the Office of the Public Advocate. Next up, we'll have Randy from CASA.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
And it is a human right. You know, words have meaning to them. Like when I say good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
And then you tell your loved one, I love you. So what about fear? Suffering. Because that's what these tenants go through every day under these landlords. They have to put pots on the stove and turn the ovens on just to stay warm. But these landlords still get paid. These same landlords will take you to court. Why should you have to live with rats and roaches Why should you have to go in and don't know when your ceiling gonna fall down upon you? Should anybody, any human being live like that?
No.
Do you think that's right?
No, that ain't right.
I'm also with the right to counsel. We have a bill out because the majority of the landlords have lawyers, and tenants don't. They still, no matter how bad they are represented by a lawyer. So our statewide right bill will help tenants get lawyers for the right to counsel. And clean hands, nobody should have to sleep in a building with their door open. Anybody can come in there and do whatever they want to you with an unlocked door. Nobody should live with mold and mildew. Nobody. So clean hands will stop these violations if they don't. You cannot take a tenant to court unless you clean up your violations. Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right.
Fight, fight, fight.
Housing is a human right. Thank you so much, Randy. And as we close out, just a reminder: these are really bad actors. These are the worst of the worst, and they're still making a lot of money. And what we have seen the past few years, we've seen housing rents go up, but the infrastructure has gotten worse, which shows just trying to get more money from tenants doesn't make things better in the housing that they live in. Not only are they on the worst landlord list and not part of the settlement, they had to settle something with the Attorney General, Tish James, a few years ago for illegally deregulating units trying to make more money. These are the worst of the worst bad actors. Quite frankly, some of these folks should not be landlords at all, and I don't think should be doing this job. But in a few minutes, I'll be going out with the organizers. Back in my day, we'll be handing out some of these to tenants across the building. A little later, we'll be doing it across the city so that tenants are aware of what, their landlord being on the worst landlord watch list, and can be helpful in helping organize those buildings. We've seen a lot happen with these lists, helping people organize, and we're excited about that. But we do want to get some more teeth to these lists as well, so we can work with the council to make sure that happens. So with that, are we doing questions?
Yeah, if anybody has questions before we get inside.
Marilyn Buckley from 1010 Win. So Margaret Brunch, she has 24 buildings on the watch list. I was wondering why you chose this building in particular for us to tour today.
Well, we try to look at the intersection of buildings that are really bad, where can folks get to, and where we have some tenants starting to organize as well. These tenants started organizing around this list as well, and I think this is one of their worst ones. And so there's a lot of history here, including with the AG, and unfortunately it was left off what they had to do, the recent settlement that they have. But we want to make sure they continue to get attention. Because they're not on the settlement doesn't mean they don't have a lot of bad things that need to happen. Unfortunately, because of how bad there are a lot of buildings that you can choose from. And I also wanted to say, I just want to thank the Mamdani administration. It's night and day working with an administration that's more interested in holding bad landlords accountable than just taking their donations. And so I'm really excited about that.
What is it that the new administration is doing that you see it handing more power to the tenants, and do you think that will make a difference on the list next year?
Well, one, they immediately reached out to us to start seeing how they can be helpful with the list, how they can make it a little bit more visible, and put some real resources behind it. So the organizing that's happened we helped coordinate with the Mamdani administration, and they have made a concerted effort to work with us to hold these landlords accountable. That hasn't happened before, and so this is the seventh one. This is the first time that from the jump, they want to see how can they help coordinate, use their resources, and use partner resources to uplift this list and to help tenants get organized.
But the tenants will be able to take more action, right, with the rental rip-off hearings?
Oh, yes. And they're connecting it with the rental rip-off hearings so we can organize and get people to come out to those hearings, particularly the ones that are on this landlord list. Because the most powerful thing we can do here is folks can recognize how bad they are, and they can come to those rental rip-offs, and they can use this as an organizing tool.
Other questions?
You have a lot of rent-stabilized landlords across the city arguing that after the HSTPA in 2019, they don't have their rental income taken care of. How would you respond to that argument?
So I think it was 25 so years ago when I was organizing over here. They were saying the same crap then. So they always find a reason why they can't take care of their buildings and why they have tenants living in conditions that they shouldn't be living in. I will say that there are some owners that need assistance, and the government has to find a way to help them because raising rents are not going to fix the problem. And so we have to be able to work with them. I would venture to say the folks on this list are not those folks. These are people who are still making a lot of money, and those are not the ones that need the help. They do try to put out more sympathetic examples of mid-sized, small owners, black and brown, working class folks who own buildings and need some assistance to hide their bad behavior. And so we're not going to allow that to happen. They need to be held accountable. They've been making money for a lot of years before that law passed, and they're still making now after that law is passed. And if you can't do the job, give up the building. I do think you have bad actors who literally think that they can just put profits over people. And so, I don't want to cast aspersions on human beings. Hopefully we can get people to behave better. But sometimes you need accountability for that, and this list is a part of that accountability and shaming. I'm hoping the banks are watching so they can't get further loans. I'm hoping the city stops working with some of these owners until they start behaving better. And that's just... Well, we have seen some of these folks get off the list. Unfortunately, not the worst ones. So we need to get some more teeth to the bill, to the list. We were able to get some laws passed last year, which we're very excited about. I think it's been helpful. We're trying to get some more laws passed this year, and I'm really trying to work to try to get the banks to pay attention a little bit more so they can say, we're not going to loan to you anymore if you're not going to keep your buildings in good repair.
I hope Shalom's off the list because he lost his buildings and went to jail.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, that was a great example. Obadam Shalom last year lost his buildings and went to jail.
So he's not.
So he's no longer on the list anymore. So that was some accountability.
Any other outdoor questions? Yeah, Josie, can we? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, your first question in the back. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
But also are dropping the ball with the heat, dropping the ball in other spots. Yeah, they sort of look good on the numbers, on the metrics that are being for the tenants.
And what's the second question? So we actually thought you were a reporter, but I want to get your question out. So what's the second one?
The question is, what is being done to not take away the building from the landlord, but to kind of put pressure on the landlord to keep things on every single day consistency with the heat, the garbage, all that stuff.
Cool. So one, some landlords should have their buildings taken from them. It's not that easy. So there's not like a lot of landlords that are having their buildings taken from them. It's very, very difficult, more difficult than it should be. Obadam Shalom was an exception, not the rule. So I wish they had to worry about that. As of right now, they don't. We do try to use all the tools to make sure that they're doing their work daily, including 311, including HPD, including elected officials, and we have a lot of people who are trying to organize. So if there's a buildings that you know that need some help organizing to put that pressure, there's some groups here, including the Flat Percenters Coalition. So if you can talk to the gentleman after, you can become part of that process. But when that doesn't work, we try to help these organizing tools and this yearly tool to try to provide some additional embarrassment, I hope, to get them to do better. All right?
Yeah, because they look good, but they're not.
Yes, we agree. Thank you.
So my second question, that's it. Thank you so much.
Oh, my bad. I thought that was second. Go ahead. Let him go. Go ahead.
This neighborhood
Yeah.
desperately needs, I know it's not builder related, but I want to sneak it in. We need some guys that are trying to get back on their feet or something. Talk to Cash. Come out here and kind of help us with the garbage.
The garbage. Okay. Okay. We also have the Doe Fund as well. So let's. Okay,
Yeah.
Kasha from my team's gonna speak to you. Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna head inside now.
Okay.
I just want to real quick run folks down. If you are, we're gonna three things we're gonna see inside for those who want to. For those who have time, we're gonna go down in the basement first. I'm gonna advise if you have a rat phobia, maybe don't. But we're gonna head down. That's one. There are 2 tenants on the 4th and 5th floors who are willing to open up their spaces to us, which is great.